Hey, greetings and salutations. It's David Duford at davidduford.com, where I help insurance agents like you become top producing insurance professionals. Thank you so much for joining me on my regularly scheduled monthly no BS Q&A live stream sales training extravaganza for insurance agents. So thanks so much for coming. On these live streams, what we do is basically take your questions so that you can ask El Jefe the answers to your problems, whether that's selling, marketing, any kind of insurance, final expense, mortgage protection, Medicare Advantage, you name it. I have a little crystal ball here I rub, and I pop out answers for you like magic. So thanks so much for joining again, guys. Today, I'm going to kind of start a little differently since this is the end of the year. I don't know about you guys, but I am in like full goal preparation mode for 2020. I've had some things happen to me over the past, a couple months or two that could be taken as a negative thing. Nothing serious, just little things. But enough to give me pause to look at my business model and look for ways to improve it. I'm not going to change anything dramatically, but what I'm looking at doing, as I'll explain here in a minute, is to really up the ante of what I provide my agents, which I think is pretty good overall, but after some deliberation, I think there's additional room to take it to an even higher level. So, first of all, for everybody's sake, before I start talking about myself, goal setting is really important this time of year, guys. The end of the year's coming. Everybody's going to be kind of quieting down to some extent, some completely, some partially as we get into the Christmas holiday season. And this is a good time to just reflect on your successes for the year, your challenges, and to really make some determinations on what really matters the most for you coming into the next year. And to really, I think from each year I do this, the one thing that I keep coming back to is the importance to focus exclusively on one thing, to give everything your all. One of the advantages I have as a guy who interviews a lot of top producers who are way better than I ever was when I was full-time is that I get to kind of get the firsthand experience multiple times over to see what success is. And I can tell you the one commonality between everybody that I see who is successful in this business is that it's all comes down to being committed to one thing, to being all in on one thing, not multiple things, not different business models or different income streams. That's a very tempting proposition to try to be one thing to one person and another to another. And in business and really in life, it doesn't maximize the amount of value that we can truly live or truly give. So how does this relate to my goals? So my goals for 2020 is I've got a couple of main goals as it relates to building my agency more so. And I just want to share these with you so that I'm on record for putting myself on the spot. You know kind of where I'm taking things. So the big thing I've identified in my business is that there is a huge opportunity to really enhance the level and quality of training. What I have done historically is I've got great training. I think I do great. But where I haven't been very involved is a lot of hands-on group type training and more hands-on one-on-one training with my agents. The main reason that I haven't done that is because my agency has always been pitched as, and it is, an independent agency. I'm not going to bother you or call you every day to ask you what kind of business you're sending in and that kind of thing. I'm not going to micromanage you. I didn't get into this business to do that, and I still don't. But what I've realized is that I've left open this void to help agents to get to different levels of breakthroughs, to get through the initial challenges that, because time has passed and I'm not necessarily as full-time in the trenches as I used to be, as you don't quite remember that stuff. So how am I going to actually improve this? So a couple of things, first of all. Number one, I think the best thing I can do, and I've just started doing this if you've been paying attention to my channel at all, I'm going from one training session for my agency to probably 5 to 6 a week, okay? So what I've been doing is a Monday training call, just basically practicing and teaching the fundamentals, which is great. We take sales presentations that I did or another agent did. I critique them. It helps you reinforce the trainings in your mind when you actually see it done in real life. But that's not enough. The biggest thing I've realized in just kind of asking my agents, what can we do to do things better? How can we enhance the experience of becoming a great final expense agent or any kind of agent for any of the sales and marketing programs we're doing? And one recurring theme is role playing and hot seats and carrier training. So I've got a lot of the training carrier training on my website, but a lot of the stuff is in flux. And a lot of people have questions and don't necessarily go to the videos and they want to ask right on the spot. And a lot of the times, just a reminder and a refresher of the options out there is very helpful to everybody. So for the carrier training, I'm going to be doing that once a week, profiling different carriers for my agents, answering their questions, going over common benefits, drawbacks to each carrier to help you pick which one works best for you. I'm also going to be doing, like I said, hot seats and role plays. You've seen some uploads from me in the last week and a half or so. These are incredibly valuable. I learned the importance of this. I actually had an agent that I was role playing, and I realized, I was like, man, I really need to do more of this, and that agents can really benefit from this. Why that's the case? Because a role-playing environment gives you the opportunity to rehearse your script in a safe environment where there is pressure, and you do have to think on the spot like you would be in the field, but you've got the loving and caring feedback from me, your trainer, David. So on what you could do better or to address issues as they come up. And sometimes it's easier, especially if you've done this already, and you do role plays to get those questions out there as you kind of go through it. You're reminded of challenges maybe you've run into. So we're going to do 2 of those a week, all fundamentals based. You know, we don't need to go elaborate with any sort of role playing or hot seats. Stick to the fundamentals. We're going to be doing a lot of that. And then part of my goal here too is going into the agency development space. So one thing I'm going to do for those agents who are working with me or who decide to work with me, I am going to teach you, if you're interested, how to build your own agency, much in the way that I have, with more of an emphasis on a local or regional type of model where you can recruit people who are brand new or inexperienced or they've worked for someone else, and then bring them into a system to where you're not mass recruiting and throwing contracts around, but you're providing a value-added service of a business opportunity. And you're helping agents who may not know how to sell final expense, Medicare, or whatever it is, become successful at the business. I have been duplicating myself as an agent really since 2013. That's when I began this whole endeavor when I was originally branded as Final Expense Agent Mentor. And I feel like my success so far, I feel like I know what I'm talking about now with just the experience I've had building an agency. And I can tell you one of the greatest things I've learned is that owning an agency has been an incredible financial asset to my family. It's freed up time for me to pursue things that I love doing, basically just jiu-jitsu. And I get to spend time with the people I love. And you guys do all the hard work, that's for sure. But diversifying your income streams and getting out of the grind on a daily basis is a thing that can be done over a 3 to 5 year period of time. So I plan on doing some content you're going to see next year. I'm going to release all my agency training stuff for free, which people probably think is a little crazy, but that's just how I roll. And then I'm going to put together trainings on a weekly and monthly basis for those agents who are interested in taking this training and then enacting it so they can start to recruit agents and start to build their dream business. Along those lines, we're going to get involved in the coaching space. This isn't like a program I'm going to sell publicly, but I'm going to allow it for agents in particular circumstances, basically if you're buying leads. And it's all really designed about staying accountable. It's about making sure that you're hitting your goals, addressing problems before they manifest into something big, and knowing that I'm going to check in on you and make sure that you're going to follow through on what your commitments are. So again, this is all stuff that I've done on some level, on a minor level, but for lack of a better word, I'm going to 10 times it. And I think my goal for the outcome of this is more changed lives, more agents who are successful in this business. There's so much opportunity in this business, and it sucks when an agent doesn't see it. A lot of the times it's just surviving. It's getting through the hard times. The adversity is what strengthens you and makes you stronger. But that doesn't take the place of solid training and support in order to bolster or boost the opportunities for success. So, like I said, that's where you're going to see a lot of my personal agency development go to. And I'm also going to be contracting a couple of larger agencies in a couple of states. I'm not going to reveal too much right now, but they do. I've done a great job of basically recruiting agents, providing leads to them, and a bunch of support. So I'm going to help them build their business. And the way that you're involved in that is that if you live in these particular states and you may not have the money to buy leads, but you want to get involved in the final expense space, we'll have avenues for you to do that. Not everybody's going to be selected. It's a pretty particular process, but there's going to be ways to get into this business with a lot more hands-on training that a lot of agents really benefit from. So more on that later. Content updates, as far as what you see on YouTube, you're going to see a lot more of the same, but of course, lots better. We're going to do, for my social media, this is kind of like more of a business strategy I'll share with you. YouTube is my bread and butter. It's been amazing for me. I'm so glad I decided to do this 5 years ago. I've took time off, come back to it, and then I've been very committed for the last 3 years or so. It's been the best thing for my business, building my brand, helping you guys out, connecting more agents to this business, and giving them an avenue to be successful without all of the fluff and recruiting mantra and that kind of thing. But what you're going to see in this, in kind of in my business model, is that I'm going to do a ton more YouTubes. You're going to see just as much as you have been. A little bit of content changes, and you're also going to see a lot more high content, high written word article content on my website. So probably at this point in a week it's probably going to be closer to a month. Probably by January 1st, I'm going to roll out a major detailed article detailing approximately 19 or 20 final expense carriers. There you're going to find out absolutely everything possible about each carrier, how they work, their advantages, their pros and cons, and getting extremely granular and detailed. And it's going to be completely free. The reason I'm putting this together is because information should be free. And there's a lot of agents operating with carriers that may not necessarily work the best for them, or there's carriers out there that they don't even know about but can hugely enhance their business. Even when I'm researching this, and I have been for the last couple of months looking at these carriers, I've been shocked I didn't know about a couple of carriers that I thought were like spot on. So you're going to see that article. You're going to see a lot more agency article reviews. A lot of you watching this are getting into the business, kind of wondering if X agency or Y MLM is best for selling insurance and what's the truth behind them. So I'm going to curate a bunch of content to kind of help you, walk you through, okay, here's so-and-so carrier, here's how it works, here's the benefits, here's what people have to say about it, so that you guys can find, if you don't work with me, find the best agency home that you can. It's really important for that. And then you'll see also the monthly live streams I'm doing move up to a weekly experience, the live stream experience with Dave. Probably going to be on Mondays or Tuesdays in the evening, kind of like right now. I'm also going to feature some guests on my show. We're going to talk different products, different concepts, and you're going to see a lot more of that kind of content. So if you like this stuff, subscribe, stay subscribed, and you're going to see even more of it. Okay, I think I'm done with my little thing. So if you've got questions, now is the time to ask. Thank you guys for listening. I appreciate your input and content and being a part of this program. So let's get back. Oh, how could I forget? I have to make sure, because I'm so bad at personal promotion, to command you to buy this book. It's called The Official Guide to Selling Insurance for New Agents. You can see that my daughter, one of them, looks like they drew on my book. That's all right, though. It's a one-of-a-kind book now. This book is appropriate for especially the newer agents, okay? If you're new to insurance and you're just getting started, you don't know what's what, totally fine, totally normal. The thing you got to understand is people are going to take advantage of you, okay, of your ignorance, that's not your fault. But there is information in my book that will help illuminate what the insurance business is all about, how it really operates, how it's very much like a multi-level marketing scheme for many organizations, and how to be successful as far as what fundamental strategies to incorporate in order to see success in the business. It's a 100-page read. It's $3 on Kindle. It's $10 as a paperback book. And it is in the position of being a great resource to get started and up and running. So I highly encourage everybody, if you're brand new to the business, to make sure that you check that out. And if you've read the book or you're going to read the book, make sure that you leave me a comment on Amazon. I really like the rankings and reviews. I'm not asking you to give me a 5-star review. Please give me your honest assessment of the book. Every comment is valuable, even hate. Really, it is. And it gives me honest feedback on what I could do better, potentially. So apparently, I forgot to start the conference call for you guys who are trying to join on that, so I apologize for that. It's on now if you wanted to hop on. I think it should be picking it up. Maybe it will. Maybe it won't. Let me try this. Well, nah, it's not going to. Forget the conference call. You just have to join the YouTube link. Okay. All right, so let's answer some questions here. I got my 8-ball out. Let's rock. Giovanni, Cliff, Hayram. Hey, buddy. Hey, buddy. Who was that? Do you remember who said that? I'll give you a hint. It's one of the Mr. Olympias. And Antoine St. Fard. Hey, how you doing? Alicia Fishers. Hey, what's up? Luzalina. Hey, Michael. Arun. What's going on? Gently, I'm about to go on an appointment. I almost rebooked. Yeah, run those appointments. You can come watch the recording of this. That works too. Fisher's Lawn Care says this new free content will be your agents only or general public, kind of like a mix of both. So part of what we do in the sales analysis call, which to me is the best training because it takes the academic side and it shows how it works in a real life. It's like applied science, right? You get to see the science, the theory in action. We do a lot of analysis of recorded sales calls. And inadvertently, you're going to have your client's voice on the recording. And I don't want to share that publicly. They don't want to either. So I keep that private for them. But what you will see are role-playing sessions played live. Not played live, but played after the fact and recordings like the one I did today. Whoop, hold on, guys, sorry. My nose is itching like crazy. I can't take it anymore. Okay. Sorry. Okay. You're going to see role-playing, hot seats. You might see carrier trainings. I'm kind of like back and forth on that. Some of these carriers are very sensitive if you even talk a little bit about the product. Some are okay. Others are like, whoa, don't say anything other than it's a great company. Call me for more information. And in the real world now where people demand transparency, it doesn't make sense. But it's talking to corporate America after all. Okay. So hopefully that answers the question. Myron, hey, how you doing? Are you planning on doing a training for prospective small business owners? Oh, you're asking, am I going to do a training for how to prospect small business owners? Probably is what you were saying. So first of all, what I would do, YouTube search David Duford small business or business owners or something like that. I probably have a half dozen or less videos on that very topic. And in those videos, I discuss in detail if I were in the position of targeting business owners, what I would do, what process and steps I would take to prospect, and how I would present the product opportunity. To me, if I couldn't sell any of the products that I do now, final expense, if I couldn't get in the senior market, and I had to start all over again, I would be going into the small business market. To me, it's a great market to be in. A lot of these business owners have financial problems, not problems in the sense like they're going bankrupt, but how am I going to be retired? How am I going to protect myself if I die or pass my business along to my family? These are all problems like, what happens if I lose my most important salesperson or key person in my little organization that has all the contacts? These are all problems that life insurance can solve. And a lot of business owners just don't know about it. So your job as a prospector for this is just to go see the people and show them what you do. Give them different options. Sometimes you'll just sell an income replacement plan. Sometimes you'll sell a supplemental life insurance retirement plan with an IUL or a whole life plan. So there's so many opportunities in that space. And a lot of good business owners have money, they have cash flow. And then the great thing is 5, 10, 20 years later, you got to have this scope. There's going to be some of those people that are very successful. And many business owners are loyal, and they'll continue to do business and enhance their life insurance portfolio with you, and you'll grow along with them. So there we have it on the business owners. So check that out. I cover all of that in a lot more detail. Awesome background. Congrats on the new house. Thank you very much. Yeah, we closed on the house, I don't know, a couple weeks ago, Wednesday. This is my very first home I've ever bought. It may kind of surprise you. I have rented my entire life. I got a good reason why. The big reason why is that, if you remember back a couple of months ago, I was thinking about moving to Florida. And then prior to that, I was thinking about moving to Idaho. I live in Chattanooga, Tennessee. And part of me has always been stir crazy. You know, I like to be kind of on the road. I like to travel. I like to get out a little bit. Do it while you're young and while you still can. But the thing is that I've realized, I guess, tempering the desires. My family all lives here. My mother, my in-laws, they're getting older. They're not that old, 50s and 60s. But I don't want to deprive my kids of having a relationship with grandparents. And that's the thing, is you don't have to just go work anywhere in the insurance business. You can choose where to work, because there's more people who need what we do than there are people to actually provide the service, still in this day and age. And anyways, to me, kind of an important thing that I've reconsidered. So I didn't want to buy a house. I saw my dad lose half of his net worth in the Great Recession when he had a bunch of Florida real estate condos and new construction go up in flames. So I've always had kind of a resistance to buying a home. But I wanted to buy a home, and I knew I was going to plant roots for sure, which, I'm 35. You'd think I would have figured that out, but whatever. I'm here now for good, the way I look at it. So thank you. Appreciate the nice compliment, Donald. Ronnie Coleman, that's right. Yeah, buddy. Yes, that new home is sick. Thank you. Hey, Mark, what's up? Would you say that your agency is geared towards field sales or phone sales? Excellent question. I'm so glad you asked that, Mark. I am definitely, personally, when I take an agent on, it's all about field sales. Why? No reason other than I don't want to try to train you on a process that I think is completely, I don't say completely, but very different from face-to-face sales, okay? Your best bet if you're going to do phone sales is to work with a group that sells the product you want to, that can teach you how to do the nuances of the presentation over the phone. So take, for example, I have 2 organizations I refer agents to that want to be independent but sell final expense telephonically. One is digitalbga.com. Jeff Root and Nick are the owners. Very good people, highly recommended. And also another option is called the Premier Producers Group. For transparency, I've got a referral relationship with them. I usually give both of these options because, hey, look, your job is to figure out which one is best suited for you. And both kind of have a similar platform, but there are advantages that one will have over another. And I feel like, hey, ask them the questions about how the business works, and then decide for yourself. But know that in either direction, you're going to find a good fit. So, yeah, I'm a field sales guy just by design. That's what I've done. When I was in the business selling final expense full time, I was in the field. I wasn't on the phone. So, Luzalina. The agency I'm with gives me bad leads. Where can I find the good leads, the Glengarry leads? I have heard... So I guess here's what I would ask you. Can you define what you mean by bad leads? Can you give me more context? I'd like to learn what kind of leads you're using. Telemarketing, direct mail, Facebook leads. Are they brand new? Are they aged? If you're doing T65 leads, how many months out are you developing the leads? Is it 9 months, 8 months out, 1 month out? Shoot me back kind of some descriptions there, and I'll be able to better answer that. Giovanni, hey, if you were paying $16 a lead, what kind of leads do you think you'd be getting? For $16 a lead, Facebook leads, possibly telemarketed leads. That's about what I would expect in that given range for either of those. If you're getting direct mail and you can get that price, that's awesome. That means your response rate's probably like 2.5% to 3%. That's not necessarily impossible. You just got to use a vague enough lead that nobody knows what's going on in the card, or you've got a great list and it's very responsive. So yeah. Yes, you would like to join me, absolutely. Antonine. Sorry if I'm messing your name up. Everybody screws Duford up. Call me Duford stuff, so apologies. Yeah, contact me at davidduford.com/contact, and we can set up a time to talk for sure about that process. Yes, we need the carrier training. What is a T65 lead? Okay, so Giovanni, a T65 lead is a Medicare lead. So when you're turning 65, you are aging into starting Medicare for the vast majority of seniors who are. So when you turn 65, you start Medicare. And what eventual Medicare insureds will do is decide whether they will just keep what they have, original Medicare and most likely a prescription drug plan, or pick up a Medicare supplement to cover what the gaps and benefits are, a Medigap plan, in other words, Medicare supplement, same thing, or get what's called a Medicare Advantage plan, which is kind of like a recreation of what original Medicare does, but provides arguably, some people argue so, some people argue it's bad, some people argue it's good, that the Medicare Advantage plan dices up benefits in a more sensible way to the insured. This is a huge opportunity. There's tons of people every single day turning 65, 10,000 a day. The senior population is projected to double in 20 years. The average insurance agent is 60. He ain't sticking around that much longer, ladies and gentlemen. You didn't get into the insurance business to, fall over of a heart attack knocking on Mrs. Jones' door. You kind of want to, in some sense, have a little bit of a nicer, relaxed retirement. Point is there's great opportunity in Medicare, anything really in the senior market, but Medicare in specifics. There's great opportunity to go out there and find those people and sell them, because there's just not going to be enough agents, especially on the Medicare Advantage side, to service those people. We've had a big push in my organization to get into the Medicare Advantage space. There's a lot more people getting involved in that. We have a year-round marketing opportunity where we target what's called DSNPs, or chronic care plans, special election period type of prospects, very much like a final expense type of prospect, and we help maximize and improve their coverage. And then you create a renewal stream, or a commission based off of renewals as opposed to first-year commission. We've got a guy right now who, if you've looked at this interview, it's worth watching if you're interested. Put in David Duford Adam into YouTube. And we've got a guy right now writing 15 to 20 applications, Medicare Advantage plans. So you transition from final expense to Medicare Advantage. And he's on track this year. I haven't checked him with it in a while. He's on track to write 1,000 Medicare Advantage plans in 2019. That's a renewal income, if you can keep it all in the books. Some are going to fall off, of course, of $225,000. So, and that's before you get out of bed money, as long as they stay on the books forever, as long as they stay alive and on the books, I should put it that way. So he's got a few more years of doing this, and then he's going to be sitting pretty. So this is a great opportunity if you like Medicare, if you like more of a consultative type of sale, if you like kind of more of the health insurance game than life insurance. Some agents kind of prefer one or the other. To me, Medicare is a huge opportunity. Supplements are great too, but Medicare Advantage is really where our focus is, and there's tons of prospects that we can definitely help year long. All right, let's keep going here. My wife said I'm long-winded before I got on, so obviously she's correct. Tax Pro, El Jefe, thank you for the proper addressing of moi. Do you give no debt releases, and then does your upline release as well lockstep? Okay, yes. So in other words, if I have an agent who wants to move on, as long as they don't owe me money, I will release them. Now, there's a couple of reasons I do that. Number one, it's the right thing to do. Even though you may have some misgivings and frustrations about it, I don't want to keep anybody hostage to me unnecessarily or unwanted. I mean, why would you want to work with somebody you hate or don't like, or you feel like another opportunity would be better? I think that's a completely fair question to ask. And there's tons of organizations that do that. They do exactly that. They hold you hostage, and they screw you. And so I don't want to be that guy. Okay. I mean, case in point. I had a very big producer, wanted a release, started him off in the business, got him super successful, tried to save him. He wanted to move. I released him. And the reason I did that, even though it affected my income, obviously off of overrides, is because it was the right thing to do. And on top of that, I think too, longer term, as I'm in this business more, and you guys will find this out as you are agents in the business or if you develop your own agency, it's a small world in the insurance business. And people come back to you. I'm already having agents that we left on bad terms, sort of slightly bad terms, not on my behalf, but they weren't happy with something that I felt wasn't the case, but whatever. I'm hearing from them again. And it's because I think how I treated them on the exit. So it goes to show you guys, try to always lead with your best foot forward. Don't take this stuff egotistically or personally. Keep your head down. And if your commitment is a passion to helping people, regardless of what you're selling or what you're doing, things will work out in the long term. It may not appear that way in the beginning, but everybody knows on this call that you want to be associated with people who have high integrity, that are honest, and that deeply care about you. And so I try to imbue that as much as possible. I'm not perfect, but yes, I do give those no debt releases, and my upline does correspond as well. And again, that's kind of how my upline made his business work too, is that, that's kind of how we've had our whole organization set up is be straight with agents. They are the sales force. They are the soldiers on the front line. You guys are the soldiers. And if you treat a soldier bad, they don't have to work with you. They can go tell the world how much of a piece of shit you are. Excuse me. And your reputation you build for years and years and years, as Warren Buffett said, can come toppling down in minutes. So you have to be very careful with what you do, and focusing on doing the right thing always works. It's just a function of time to see the fruits of it. And really, it's immediate too. Okay. Hey, Scott, what's up? Hey, Tax Pro again. How do you personally handle pitch present to a general insurance lead that, although trends older, is not always low-income FE? Okay, so it just depends. I mean, like what you're describing, a general insurance lead. Like, what is that? If you can reply back with some context, let me know. The reason I say that is because at my core, I want to sell one product or teach a new agent into this business to sell one product. Because if you have a general insurance lead, there is an impetus to sell multiple products, which isn't necessarily wrong. I just think it's harder for a new agent to do that. And so if I walk into a lead and they're in their 50s, it could be a business owner, it could be a middle manager, it could be a line worker, I'm going to have to start representing all these different types of products, right? Final expense, mortgage protection, key man policies, voluntary payroll deduct, supplemental life insurance retirement plan. If I'm brand new to the business, holy crap, that's a lot to remember. All right, so I would prefer to think of one product, to focus on a lead that's specific to that product, and rinse and repeat and scale your activity as high as you can. And what I believe is that after some time that you do this, you go through this process, you can look at doing a more general approach after you've earned the right to do a general approach, meaning you've been successful in something else. After a year, pick up Medicare Advantage. That's kind of what we talk about with final expense. Don't do it all at once, because trust me, it's hard enough as it is doing one thing at a time. Okay, more questions. Omar, hey, what's up? David, thanks for all the great stuff you provide. Question, how do you overcome the client's lead's reluctance to let you in the house and say, don't know you? All right, so here's what you got to do. First of all, you can't win them all. There's paranoid people out there, all right? However, it is the minority. I'm like aghast, not aghast, but shocked at the number of people that would let me in. But I just chalk it up to good charm, I guess. But no, people are generally trusting. If you shut the TV off and you don't read the news and you start talking to like real life people, like a lot of them aren't nearly as flipped out as you think they would be. And the thing is too, especially if you're targeting older populations, they like face-to-face appointments more. They like talking to their agents. A lot of them don't even see or speak to a person for days, if not weeks on time. There was a report that came out that said, the average senior, there's a percentage of seniors that go a full week without having a conversation. No wonder they like letting salespeople over. No wonder they send these cards back. But to answer your question directly, it's all chemistry, right? It's like romance, right? There's just like sparks that fly. You can try to do you can take some steps to manufacture this to an extent. So what I mean by that is that when I'm out there and I'm seeing people, I'm making eye contact. And you notice I usually kind of my eyes rest like this, I don't care look. But when I'm talking to somebody, whoa, my eyes are wide and open. That is kind of like, hey, I'm an open person. I'm excited. I'm energetic. Of course, I smile. I speak up a little bit. And I'm kind of, the way I would describe it is I'm light on my feet. I'm happy-go-lucky. I try to crack a joke at the door. A lot of times I'll say stuff like, if I'm rebuttaling an objection, I'll say, hey, look, if you like it, great. If not, you can give me the boot and we'll still be friends. Does that make sense? And sometimes you get a laugh out of them and that just lowers their resistance. They're like, all right, come on in. So first of all, the moral of the story here is, no, not all of them will let you in. Number two, it's all about that connection that you make with the prospect. And so much of it's body language. I did a training today. You may have saw it. You want to reach your hand out. Try to shake the person's hand. Most people will respond in like kind. But make sure you're focusing on eye contact. Make sure you're focusing on what the card says. Be enthusiastic that you're there to help these people out with their coverage, to get them a better deal put in place. And do a lot of activity. A lot of that activity will help modulate some numbers. I think a good agent should be able to get in with a direct mail piece 2 out of 3 leads, if not more, on a door knock type of approach. Arun, T65 is mostly good for October, November, December only. No, T65 is good all year long because seniors are turning 65 all year long. So there's actually 3 primary markets in Medicare. The first one is turning 65, and you're just starting Medicare, kind of like what we've described. There's also the turning 67 market, which is, when somebody's had a Medicare supplement specifically for 2 years and the prices have gone up and they're looking to possibly get a better deal. And then the third one, what is the third one? Third one's the D-SNP deal that we talked about, where we go after low-income subsidy, final expense type of prospects, and then do a special election period to switch them over. So you can sell Medicare in a couple ways all year long, but AEP, of course, right now is the busiest time of year for Medicare because Medicare Advantage recipients can change up, and it's just become like the season people think of to change Medicare. But that's just this. There's those other opportunities you can make a year-long pursuit. Yeah, Mark, absolutely. MAPD, D-SNP plus FE, a match made in heaven, absolutely. I mean, that's kind of why we gotten into this, because the requirements, the prospect for Medicare Advantage have loosened this year. And there's so many of our final expense prospects are eligible to switch. I was asking Luis on an interview a while back about this, and he said it's like 80% of your leads are like Medicare Advantage prospects. And you may not be able to switch them now. A lot of them you will be, but many you'll come back to and be able to switch. So it's something that I think goes hand in glove for the final expense agent that's trying to build a renewal stream of income. Much like I've built an agency, which to an extent is kind of a semi-passive renewal type of stream of income. For those of you who don't want to get into the adult babysitting business and you want to continue to produce, the Medicare market provides that ability if you put enough effort into it, like I described earlier. Okay, Uzalina, bad leads, wrong numbers, dead people. Basically what we work every day, right? LOL, seniors in their late 70s. I prefer T65, gives me more options, yeah. So where can you get T65s? Okay, so, I mean, I've got sources where I've got Medicare supplement leads. They're turning 67 and older leads. but you can go see people who have supplements, they're sold on it. You just go in and show them a better deal. Obviously, if you know Medicare supplements, they're all the same between plans, between companies. Your job is to show them how they get the same thing without a reduction of benefits for a better price. We do have access in my agency to T65 leads. I've not ever had anybody really use them because we're more of the DSNP focus. Let's see what else. I mean, if you just do a Google search, I know Lead Heroes does T65 leads. Probably Cody Askins does Medicare leads, T65s. And then you can always go to a mail house like Lead Concepts or Need a Lead. They'll do T65 leads. They'll talk to you about how far out you want to mail them. But they are definitely a lead source that you can do. Which one's best? They all work to various extents. In some ways, direct mail is king for a lot of different of our marketing programs, and they definitely work well here too. Hopefully that gives you a little of perspective. Siri, sorry if I'm... Oh, Eric. Hey, Eric, what's up? When you are in the field with final expense, were you 100% door knocking? Is door knocking your preferred method? Forgive me if you already answered this. No, it's a great question. It's a fundamental question. So kind of I could build on this. I could say, the real question is, what is the best way to get in front of prospects, right? Is it door knocking or is it phone calling? I believe that door knocking is going to give you the best conversion ratio. Why? Because when you pick up the phone and talk to Mrs. Jones, it's likely that they're watching Steve Harvey, The View, or other pressing and concerning shows on TV, and their attention is half spent listening to what you say, and then you say something about dying. Or they're on the pot, they're in the oven, not in the oven, but cooking by the oven. And their mind is somewhere else other than what they did to request the information. And so what do? Oh, I changed my mind. Hang up on you. And it takes a level of training to learn the phone more so, I believe, than getting good face-to-face. Plus, you've got seniors who can't hear half the time very well. That further confuses things. So in essence, like Lincoln Heritage is a perfect example. Forever, I don't know if they do it now, but I'm sure they do. They teach all their agents just to grab the leads and show up face-to-face. Don't even bother calling them. And there's a reason why they write a ton of production as a company relative to other carriers and independent agencies. So I think that's a good moral of the story. Now, what I did when I started is I always had an appointment setter, and I always door knocked the leads that didn't pick up. My justification for this was A, I hated using the phone. B, was also that I could set my days up knowing what to expect, and then I could spend my time strategizing ways to door knocks in between appointments. For me, waking up with even a couple of appointments the next day is a good feeling. It's like I know something's going to happen. I've got context. I've got a structure to my day. So it was powerful for me. Even though it was an additional expense at the time, it made a tremendous difference for me. So there are agents who don't believe in appointment setters. They do it themselves. I just got done talking to an agent a couple days ago who has called all of his old leads, set 10 appointments off of old telemarketed leads. Like, we would never see that from the appointment setter he used. He fired her. So it's just, if you have to choose one or the other, you can live in this business, make a good income by just door knocking your leads only. It's unlikely that if you just call only door knocking your final expense leads, or if you only call your final expense leads, that you will see as much success. Why? Because a lot of people screen their phones, especially if you use Facebook leads. That's a lot more of that. And it's harder to get that process of them just picking the phone up. I mean, I've been saying for years, the biggest challenge to using the phone is not handling objections or hearing no. It's to get them to actually answer the phone. And that's the hard thing to do. Okay. RJ, what's up, man? Did I hear you say it is better to focus on final expense? Just submitted contact information. How soon does I expect to hear from you? I'll send you something later tonight, or possibly first thing tomorrow. Give you some kind of steps to set up a time with me. Yeah, I think final expense is good. I joke that final expense is the gateway drug of the insurance business. The reason I say that is because when you look at the any business model, insurance, home improvement, or otherwise, what you want is a model that has a product that's easy and simple to understand, that has a marketing or marketable ability to a mass market of people, and that is primarily activity-oriented, not advanced technical skill-oriented. It's easier to get started with a product like Final Expense because it's simple. Do you want to be buried or cremated, Mr. Prospect? Are you worried about dying and leaving something behind? That's not a hard concept to get. And there's way more people in the market that we target that don't have coverage or have inferior coverage that we can help. So I'm a big advocate of Final Expense, not because it pays the most. There's mortgage protection's a better average case size for most people. Annuities sell huge relative to both of those. But the difference is that Final Expense can provide you a flow of leads that is unmatched with most other lead systems that can be done immediately out of the gate, where there's not much to think about the marketing process. There's very little to learn from a technical standpoint, and it's all about seeing people, door knocking, actively getting in front of prospects, and doing whatever it takes to help them out. So for all those reasons, I think it's good. And then some people make a career out of it like I did, build an agency around it. Some stay just personally producing Final Expense, but it's a good way to stair-step to different things. Like I've been talking about Medicare Advantage, because all your old clients you can go back and write up and see. It's beautiful. All right, more questions here. Hey, what's Adam, I think, right? I am new as an independent agent. Is it a problem not having a company name behind you when you sell? No. Well, people ask what agency you work for. No, I don't care about that. I don't care about any of that crap. Any experienced agent on this recording will laugh when I say this. There are like the best agents don't even mention the company. Or rather, I should say, they don't have to mention the company. And sometimes they don't. It's an afterthought. The client who you just met, who was just a stranger 30, 40 minutes ago, has just given you their personal information, their social security number, their bank account, told you these deep, dark thoughts about dying that they probably haven't shared with anybody else, and haven't even wondered what company you're with. So that's the crazy thing, or what company the insurance company's with. I recruit agents that are kind of come from a more technical, higher level life insurance background, and a lot of them are concerned about like AM Best ratings. Well, there's good companies that don't have AM Best ratings. That's not a big deal. AM Best, the companies actually have to pay like 50 grand to get a rating, whereas the DOI can basically determine the ability for a company to represent a product or not in the States. And there's kind of like a FDIC insurance against a company going to receivership that protects our policy side. So I say all this because the name of the company or brand has minimal to zero impact. I think it can make a difference if you're local. Like I had a guy up in Idaho who was working in seminars, who's doing really well, and he would sell United Heritage. And United Heritage is out of Boise. So it's like, why not sell that? I mean, hey, we're a local. So I think that has an effect with our prospects, but largely it doesn't. And I wouldn't get too strung up trying to force feed a client into a plan because it's local versus just doing the right thing and making the connection, because what sells in this business is you, my friend. The agent is what makes or breaks the sales process. So so much depends on you, okay? That's why we're not unemployed and artificial intelligence is writing up Mrs. Jones, because the insurance companies need people to see people face to face to get this stuff done. So until then, that time where it's all automated and artificial intelligence is taken over, the sale is entirely based off of your personal interaction with the client. The sale of whether or not you make it or not is based off of that relationship. And if you can create and garner trust and rapport, you'll be surprised what you can get from these people. So you better be a good person. But that shows the power of what a good salesperson will do, that the company doesn't matter. And I think that's generally a rule anyway. You sell yourself first, not the company. If you got to rely on the company too heavily, there are still going to be sticking points. I mean, people don't buy from people because of like, well, I thought that guy was an asshole, or just it's like, well, the company was good. Well, I didn't like the guy. I didn't think he really cared. People who are, line workers up to CEOs feel that way. I mean, it's human. So never discount the importance of your role in this. Companies don't matter all much. Pocket man, hey, I know nothing about insurance but have a good work ethic. Good. That is the first step to greatness. What advice do you have? Buy my book. No joking. You should buy my book. This one right here, The Official Guide to Selling Insurance for New Agents, just came out a couple weeks ago. It's $3 on Kindle, $10 paperback. That will give you an overview of what this business is really like and then what characteristics you need to have to be successful. In short, to answer you directly, pick one product to sell that excites you, that's interesting to you, that fits who you are and your personality. 2, spend time interviewing the agencies as well as letting them interview you. Ask them the tough questions. You'll learn what questions to ask in my book. A lot of agencies are just horrific. There's no training, there's no support. It's a very frustrating experience for a lot of agents. And if you go work for one of these and you don't know, you're going to end up as a statistic with 90% of all agents failing in the first year, or at least a higher chance of that happening to you. So interview the agents and work your ass off. There's absolutely no substitute. I hate this garbage about work smarter, not harder. It's not that it's like a half-truth, but like the last thing we need to tell people is that they can just like put their feet up and not work hard, okay? Like anything worth having in life must be applied consistently with hardcore effort over typically years and years and years. The thing I wish sitting here for all of you who are watching this, struggling, wondering if this is the right thing for you or not. I wish I could share with you my personal experience. There's so much that I've forgotten up to this point as far as the hardships. I failed out of this business, in case you don't know. Came back into it after I realized it wasn't all that bad. But what I've gotten out of this is only because I refuse to quit. I'm not some magical salesperson with some secret powers. I'm an introvert. I used to be afraid to call Pizza Hut on the phone, order a pizza. You know, like I could barely talk to my wife when I first met her. You know, I wasn't that bad, but you get the idea. I don't think I could have asked her on the first date without the help of my boss. It's kind of a funny story. But the point is like this is all learnable stuff. And a lot of it comes from adversity, okay? A lot of it comes from this difficulty that you experience in the field. And if you just stick your neck out, if you just keep going, don't quit. I'm telling you, I promise you, at some point, it may take years, things will just turn around and you will be so thankful that you committed to this, because what this business does, it affords you a lifestyle and a level of freedom that you can't get. I mean, if my neighbors here knew that I just basically sit on YouTube and talk and then talk to agents all day, they'd probably be nuts, because most of them have jobs. They've got to be somewhere between 8 and 6, Monday through Friday. They get their 2 weeks of vacation a year. Yeah, it's crazy. So I'm not bragging. I'm just saying I just want you out there to experience this too, because it gets you closer to the people you love, your family, and everything like that. Okay. So that's my advice to you. Giovanni, are you saying that a company you sell insurance for can keep you from going to another company? Yeah. Let me clarify that. So here's the thing. You've got agencies you got the life insurance carriers at the top, and you've got agencies at the bottom, and then agents down here, right? So agents contract with agencies who are contracted with carriers. What the little dirty secret is that you contracting with an agency to get to a carrier, the agency has the sole discretion to say, yes, I'm allowing you to take that contractual relationship to this next agency or not. So that means if you are recruited on false pretenses, you're brought into an organization, you're promised the world, and you find out that it's a bunch of garbage, but you've worked there for 3 or 6 months, it's taken you as long, and you've gotten familiar with a couple of core carriers, you feel they're important. The company has the ability to say, hey, you got to wait 6 months before you can move these carriers, and there's nothing you can do about it. The only way around it is if you get a signed document called a release signed by the upline, signed by you, and by the new upline, the new agency you're moving to. That's the only way to move those carriers over. It's not the end of the world if this happens. It's just, to me, in my mind, it's always been like, this is crap, man. It's like, I can understand if somebody owes chargeback debt. I don't release someone if they owe me chargeback debt. Why? Because they owe me money. They got to pay me back, and then I'll release them. Then we're square. Otherwise, I'm stuck with this bill, and they go right still. It's not good. But yeah, that's the standard of this business. And there's a lot of organizations. I'm not going to say publicly which ones don't release. I can tell you a bunch that don't. And I know ones that do. There's big organizations that do. There's big organizations that don't. Incidentally, the best agencies and the fastest growing ones do release. But it's a dirty little secret of this business. And if you're in that position, rest assured there's other good carriers. It's just going to be a minor inconvenience in the long run. But it's the principle of the matter that bothers me. It's like, you can't hold me hostage, dude. You know, I'm working volitionally. I'm a 1099 contractor. Well, you think that, but it's just not the case. Hey, Rich, what's up? Rich says, thank you. Oh, above. I had an IMO say that they have Oxford at 125. Does that sound right? Who would you use to do this virtually? If I were to sell, I mean, that comp may be right. Don't know. If I were selling virtually, meaning over the phone, I don't think you could sell Oxford over the phone yet. Maybe you can. Correct me if I'm wrong. I didn't see that, though. For virtual sales, like I mentioned earlier, digitalbga.com or premierproducersgroup.com. Put those into Google, you'll get the results. Those are really good organizations to look at. Hey, Blair, what's up? How does the commission structure work with your IMO? Does it differ from companies that start at 25, 35, and 40? I laugh because that's like abysmally low. It's crazy, but there are organizations that do that as you're promoted. So I take a different stance on comp levels and how my comp structure is. So first things first, hat tip here, or pro tip, I should say. There are companies that say, I've got the ABC company commission level. You're at the 100% ABC commission level. And they recruit agents thinking, wow, my commission's at 100%. Every company I'm going to write under ABC company is going to put me at 100%. But what you don't realize, and this is where the lack of transparency comes in, is that as you look at each company, there's one company that's 100%, then the rest of them are at 80, 70, 60%, even lower. And so you've been given like this window-dressed marketing term, 100% ABC commission, which actually means nothing in the real world. So you want to stay away from those companies, and you want to question, what is my actual commission rate with each company? And you can get that by just calling up the company and asking them to send a comp grid. They're required to send that to you. So the way I do it, though, is I don't have a grid that's based off of production, like on a continual basis. A lot of organizations, like probably ones you're talking about, you can't get to those higher levels until you've recruited. Statistically, you probably have to recruit to get to the higher levels. I start agents generally for final expense between 100% and 110%. Once they do 25,000 in production and let me know, I'll move them to 110 to 120%. There is still room for higher than that if I have an agent who is highly productive or is building their agency. But those levels, at those levels, those 110 to 120 level, beyond the 25,000 quota requirement, I don't ever monitor their production as a way to keep them at that level. I just don't want to do that. I'm lazy, okay? And I think too, you know, if as me being a producer-oriented organization, I want to max your comp out as a producer and then stay out of your way. If you want to write a lot of business or a little, it's your discretion, right? I mean, the business of selling insurance is kind of open-ended. Where do you want to take it? How much effort do you want to give? Some people give a lot. Some people write a policy here and there, and that's totally cool. It's all business to me, and I'm appreciative of it. So that kind of gives you an idea of how the comp structure is. If you want to ask some follow-up questions, you can post a chat. Go to davidduford.com/start. No, davidduford.com/contact. Yeah, that's what it is. Tax Pro, what's up again? Let's see here. By general insurance, I mean like live transfers that have a general interest in life insurance. Okay. Many times term, but often better suited with final expense from what I'm seeing. Yeah. Yeah, I would still kind of follow the same thing. If I would modify it though if I felt like, okay, 3 out of 4 of my leads are final expense. Well, okay, I know I'm going to have to talk about that and then pivot the term. So I might do an introductory statement of something like, hey, my name is Tax Pro. The reason I'm calling you today is that I help people in your age group with things like final expense protection and income protection with affordable life insurance plans. I'd like to share with you how these work. All it takes is 5 minutes. What you do with the information is up to you. How's Tuesday at 2 or 10 be better for you? So I would kind of modify the script as you start to see some characteristics repeat over and over again with your leads. And you're on the right track though. Hey Mark, what's up? Have you ever had success with age final expense leads in a dialer? Or can you speak to your opinion on the success of buying age leads, dialers, sell over the phone, or set a field appointment? Okay. Age leads work, but it's sweat equity, okay? So you would only get age leads if you're waiting on your fresh leads to come in or you can't afford anything else other than that. I would not spend time calling. I would spend time sending out what's called a refresher letter. That would be a letter saying, hey, with a copy of the lead in there, you sent this back in. I'm going to be stopping by. I'm the new representative in the area and want to make sure you actually received this information. I have no record if you did or not. Signed, you. And then go out and door knock them. Knock on their door. Say, hey, I'm the guy that sent you that letter. Remember getting that maybe a couple days ago? Yeah. And then go into your script. So it refreshes the leads, right? So it feels like it's a newer lead, right? So when you get there, it's not going to be some unfamiliar thing because they would have opened it and read it and have at least been aware that you're coming for them. So I like doing that with age leads and door knocking them. I don't like calling them because, like Lou Zelinia said earlier, a lot of them are dead. Their cell phone minutes are down or gone, or their cell phone number has changed. And then when you call them and tell them they filled out something like 4 years ago, they're not going to remember. So there's a lot of weakness, I think, from calling age leads if we're talking final expense here. From a dialer. I want to just get belly to belly with age leads, 100%. Tax Pro, on my last comment, I meant to add that my focus is final expense. Okay, which is why I reach out to you offline. Excellent. Tax Pro says, what do you say if you get a not interested at the end of a presentation, even if you perfectly help the prospect? It doesn't happen all that much. I would have ended the sales call a lot earlier because what I actively try to do in my sales presentation is acquire the level of need, the level of desire, the level that the prospect qualifies for. And then I make the determination as the agent if I want to continue the sales presentation with a high odds prospect, or if I get the sense that they're a low odds prospect, I'm actively looking for ways to shut it down if the odds are close to zero that there's going to be a deal from that. Well, how do you define that? Well, you got to define what your qualifying characteristics are for your product. And if we're talking final expense, we're talking need. What's the need the client has for it? What's their desire to have it? What's their health? That's a minor thing. Everybody can qualify if they're over 40 and under 85 for guaranteed issue. Hey, honey, I'll be there in a minute. That's my little 2-year-old probably getting mad where I'm at. And then the last thing here is bank account. Can we draft an account? And their budget. What do you actually have as the monthly budget they're comfortable with? So once you acquire those, and if you get positive responses to all that, I've got a qualified prospect, right? But what if I just get one no? What if the no is, well, I get my check, I get paid under the table cash at the local mechanic shop, I don't have a bank account. They're not a qualified prospect because I can't draft them. And if there's no other way to take a quarterly bill, I'm done. They can be begging me to buy insurance, but if I can't meet the qualifying criteria, what is the point of even being there, right? You're not going to sell them, okay? You can't sell a direct bill. If I can get a quarterly bill, I'll try to get that. But other than that, what opportunity is there to sell them, even if they want it? I guess you could drive them down to the bank account. There's people who've done that. I think I've done that before. And that's fine if you want to. But it's your discretion at that moment in time. If I've gotten, and this is what I try to do, I try to bury myself in leads. I want to have, when I'm out in the field, working direct mail, I want to have 10 plus appointments a day. So it's like, if this one isn't going to roll, and there's a reason they don't have a bank account, okay? And it's usually because of the inability to manage money effectively. I'm on to the next one, and I want to get out there fast. Okay, boom, you're not a prospect, let's go to the next one and see if this one is. And just be like a machine working it. All right, getting to the end of the questions here. Maybe, okay. Oh. So yeah, that's why I don't get the not interested questions at the end. I get like, let me think about it. Let me give it some thought. Let me talk to my pet rock. Let me pray about it. Let me talk to my kids. And then we just objection rebuttal them and try to turn them around as best as we can. I had one time, I had a prospect who, I did a story on this. She had a pink mailbox, a pink Cadillac. She had a picture of herself like painted on the side of her, outside of her house. She was from New Orleans. She got washed away in Hurricane Katrina. Al Gore, Vice President Al Gore, flew her up to Chattanooga along with some other people. And there she remained. When I knocked on her door, she was paying $250 a month for a funeral pre-need plan through the funeral home. And she was broke, like she couldn't pay her water bill. And I was like, lady, we can get you a Forester's plan at the time. It was like 2011, 12, for like $90 a month. And instead of this $10,000 deal you got, we can get you 15. And she's like, yeah, all right. So I signed her up, or I got her approved. And she said, Dave, well, let me talk to this funeral director. And I was like, oh, great. So I left, and then I called her a couple days later, and she said, Dave, do you know what happened last night? I said, no, what happened? And Anita said, I was dreaming last night, and God came into my dream. And you know what he said, Dave? What did he say? Don't buy that burial insurance policy from Dave. Still this day, I don't know how to rebuttal God. I mean, that's kind of a dangerous proposition, right? Maybe God did come into her mind and say this. Who am I to say she didn't? And what are the consequences if I say that was the devil or something like that? So I didn't get the sale, needless to say. But that woman still sends cards back. She sent a card back like a year ago. Never got in front of her, though. Okay. Hey, Benjamin, what's up? So glad I tuned in. Great, thank you. Any chance it'll be recorded? Yeah, absolutely. So you'll see the recording like 30 minutes after it's over. Scott, I second that emotion. I got tuned in late. Will this YouTube be like to see the whole Dave Duford show? Yeah, you will see the whole Dave Duford show. Absolutely. Okay. Tax Pros, a new agent writing under you. Can we get a 115 level and still get your El Jefe training? davidduford.com/contact. We'll talk. I do sometimes go higher on the commissions. It just depends on the agent's experience. Gerardo, hey, what's up? Last call for questions, guys. I'm wearing down here. As a new, we already covered that. What's your approach to texting direct mail leads? Give it a shot. Try one time to text message them. And, okay, I'll be down to hang pictures in a minute. America waits for me. What can I say? I think it's worth a shot. One time only. Don't beat your clients up constantly with text messages. It's too risky and it pisses people off, right? I would send a very apologetic text message saying, hey, my name is David Duford. I don't mean to text you, but just wanted to let you know I got back the card you sent in requesting information about final expense. I'm the guy that handles it. My job is to deliver the information to you. It just takes 5 minutes to review. And I've got some openings in my schedule and wondered if 2 o'clock or 10 would work. What works best for you? And then I would even maybe put something on the end like, this is the only text message I'm going to send you, so please reply back. I might not send that out as my first opening salvo, but I might reserve those for, I've tried calling somebody a bunch, I've tried door knocking, and I may say as much, hey, I don't mean to text you, I've tried calling you, I've tried stopping in, I may not say I've tried stopping in, but I've tried reaching you, but you haven't been answering. But the reason I'm contacting you, and then fill in the blank. Hopefully that helps. Yeah, I would take a picture of the card. Take a picture of the information that they requested. Visually, that will help jog their memory. Cody, have you ever heard of North American Senior Benefits? What's your take on the company and how they're structured? If you've heard of them, yeah, they're out of Lawrenceville, Georgia. They've been around a long time. I haven't heard a lot of activity from them. I heard they were acquired by Integrity Marketing Group, which is fantastic for them. That's a big mover in the business that's acquiring smaller agencies, not really, actually larger agencies too, I think what they're going to do is some kind of, hell, I forget the word for it. They're going to sell it off to a private equity firm. And this is kind of like an exit strategy for the large organizational owners in the insurance business. But yes, I have heard of them. My experience with them is that it's going to depend on your upline, who's going to be training you, what value you're going to get. All I could say without getting too personal with them is to get a second opinion. Ask around. Look at other organizations before you decide to commit. Many an agent feels strongly about one thing and they realize it's completely different than what they thought. Don't be that guy. Hey, Lolly, what's going on? How do you get out fast? How do you mean? I mean, like I get up, take a bath, eat breakfast, pack my lunch and dinner, get the kids to school, and I'm gone. If that's what you mean. I mean, there's no wasting time. Part of that comes from having preset appointments. So there's especially I try to set 8 o'clock appointments or 9 o'clock appointments. And that forces you to stick to a schedule faster, right? You've got something coming up, so you better go see them. They're expecting it. Once again, you've proven that you're the man, myth, and the legend. Oh, man. Of course, as per always. I wish my wife would say things like that to me. Again, congrats on the house and enjoy the holidays with your family. Cheers, mate. Don't worry, she does. I'm just kidding. BME Distributing, what are things you're looking for while replacing? Inferior coverage, overpriced, clean sheeted, meaning that the agent came in, lied on the application about height, weight, smoking, and health questions. My job is to show the client their policy is inferior or it is a bad deal that's not going to cover like it should. And that sets the table to say we can wash all of this away with my plan to replace it. In a nutshell, that's what I look for. You're welcome, Willie. CT, I'm newly licensed and would like to start selling via telemarketing. Russell Roberts, do you offer a training program that would be suitable for me? Yes. Contact, again, get second opinions, digitalbga.com. I sound like I'm a sounding board, but Digital BGA should be paying me money for all the endorsements I'm doing. Digital BGA, or Premier Producers Group for that matter. Both of those are really good. Telesales, final expense organizations. I think Digital does term-based over-the-phone sales too. But those are very good. I would definitely do that. Can you talk about replacing, please? I'm a new agent. Okay. Yeah, the best agents will replace 1 out of 3 to 1 out of 2 of the new business that they write. That means 1 out of 2, 1 out of 3 of their applications are replacements. I've always been like a 1 out of 4, 1 out of 3 guy. Our business is rife of junk policies, junk mail policies with 2-year waits, junk mail policies with cancellations because they're term at 80, imploding universal life plans that were inadequately designed and are going up like crazy, crashing the cash value. There's overpriced captive companies galore. Our job is just to help our fixed income seniors get a better deal, and that's what we do. And just do the process I just instructed, which is show them how to get a better deal. Show them what they've got compared to what you can do. How do you get out of the home of a prospect fast? Once I find out they're not interested, I'll say, hey, look, or once I find out they're not qualified, I say, hey, look, we have to have a bank account, so if you can't do this, I got to go. We can't do business. And I'll say, okay, great. Hey, thank you very much. I've got to get on to the next appointment. Have a nice day. If you ever do ride along with me, I'm probably rude, borderline rude, but it's because there's no reason for me to be there now. I have to go on to see somebody who actually might be a prospect because I've determined that you aren't. So it's not rudeness. It's just deliberate movement forward, deliberate processing of your business to see the people, to see the prospects, to close the business at the highest percentage possible. So just stand up, kind of make that stand-up motion, say, oh, okay, hey, I got to go. Talk to you later. Bye. And you'll find that it seems weird at first, but then you get used to it. Cody did 12,000 last month. Nice. Very good with your advice. Love your videos. You're the real MVP. Thank you. Thanks for answering my past question anytime, anywhere. And then CT says, so do you have a training program suited for my situation? No. No, I don't. Contact those 2 people or those 2 groups. You may also want to look at Cody Askin's stuff. He's got a lot of training programs you can purchase. I think one of them is a telesales program. I've never seen it, used it, have experience with it, but I'm pretty sure he has something like that. It's definitely worth checking out. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for another successful live stream Q&A, no BS, insurance sales training extravaganza. Of course, buy my book, The Official Guide to Selling Insurance for New Agents. Of course, my Final Expense book and Interviews book are also available anywhere where books are sold on Amazon and my website. And of course, I can't help but to invite you, if you're looking to 10 times your business, if you're looking to become a great agent in the insurance business, selling final expense, Medicare, annuities, mortgage protection, reach out to me. I'm more passionate and more committed to helping you become successful in this business. I want you to be with me at the top. I want you to be with me to experience all the great things I have. And this isn't some hype bullshit stuff, guys. I'm just super excited because I'm just some dude that, as you know, you look back at those videos I did, I was in my basement doing this stuff. And now I've hit a level of success that I'm very proud of. And it's only because I've been committed and gave it the time, and I want to help others do the same. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. See you next month, 2020. Have a happy Christmas and a Merry New Year. See you.